The distress signal pierced through subspace like a scream in the dark. It reached 17 different species across the Meridian sector, each one receiving the same desperate plea from Mining Station Gamma 7. The message was simple, transmitted in the universal trade language that all spacefaring civilizations understood. We are under attack. Please help us. Please. Anyone. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Wolverine, her weathered hands gripping the command console as the message played for the third time. Around her, the crew of humanity's newest battlecruiser listened in tense silence. The signal had traveled for 3 days before reaching them, bouncing through relay stations until it found Earth's expeditionary fleet stationed near the border of human space. Distance to the source? Chen asked, her voice cutting through the bridge's ambient hum. 47 light-years, Captain, replied Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez from the navigation station. We could make it in 60 hours if we push the engines hard. Chen nodded slowly, her dark eyes studying the star map displayed on the main screen. Mining Station Gamma 7 belonged to the Velthari, a species of peaceful silicon-based beings who extracted rare minerals from asteroids. They had no military, no weapons worth mentioning. They were scholars and traders, not fighters. Open a channel to Fleet Command, Chen ordered, and patch me through to the other captains. Within minutes, the faces of 11 other human ship commanders appeared on her secondary screens. Each one commanded a vessel designed for one purpose that humanity had perfected over millennia of evolution and conflict. These were not exploration ships or trade vessels. They were predators built of steel and determination. Admiral James Thompson appeared on the main screen from Earth's orbital command station. His gray beard and stern expression spoke of decades in service. Captain Chen, I assume this is about the Velthari distress signal. Yes, sir. Requesting permission to respond with all available ships. Thompson paused, and Chen could see him accessing data on his own screens. The Galactic Assembly is convening an emergency session to discuss the appropriate response. They're suggesting sending negotiators. With respect, Admiral, by the time they finish debating, there won't be anyone left to negotiate for. Chen's jaw tightened. The signal is 3 days old. Every hour we wait is an hour those miners don't have. The Admiral's expression softened slightly. The Assembly won't like it if we act unilaterally. We're still the new species, Sarah. We've only been part of the galactic community for 20 years. Then they're about to learn what kind of species they invited to join them. Chen replied firmly. Sir, you know what we are. You know what we come from. Earth shaped us to survive anything, to fight everything. These Velthari are calling for help. In my book, that means we answer. Thompson was quiet for a long moment. Behind Chen, she could hear her crew shifting at their stations, waiting for the order that would either send them racing across the stars or keep them standing idle, while innocents died. Captain Chen, the Admiral finally spoke. You are authorized to respond to the distress signal with all available ships. Rules of engagement are at your discretion. Protect those who cannot protect themselves. Understood, Admiral. Chen out. She turned to face her bridge crew, seeing the anticipation in their eyes. These were Earth's children, born on a world where survival meant being faster, stronger, and smarter than everything trying to kill you. They had inherited the legacy of countless generations who had faced down saber-toothed cats, survived ice ages, and eventually conquered their entire planet, despite it trying to destroy them at every turn. All hands, this is the captain, Chen announced over the ship's intercom. We have received a distress call from Mining Station Gamma 7. We're going to answer it. Prepare for maximum burn. We leave in 30 minutes. The ship erupted into controlled chaos as crews rushed to their battle stations. In the weapons bay, Marines checked their armor and rifles. In engineering, technicians prepared the fusion reactors for the strain of sustained faster-than-light travel. In medical, doctors prepared trauma stations for potential casualties. Meanwhile, in the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Assembly, representatives from dozens of species gathered to discuss the crisis. The chamber itself was a marvel of cooperative engineering, with atmospheric zones for methane breathers, water dwellers, and everything in between. At the center, a holographic projection showed Mining Station Gamma 7 surrounded by ships marked with the crimson symbol of the Skorath Confederation. Speaker Zelvin of the Althari Federation raised one of her forearms for attention. Her species resembled tall, graceful beings of living crystal, their bodies refracting light in beautiful patterns. Honored colleagues, we must approach this situation with wisdom. The Skorath are violent, yes, but perhaps they can be reasoned with. Reasoned with. The voice belonged to Dektar of the Bronin Republic. His people were small, furry creatures with large eyes adapted for the darkness of their home world. The Skorath are raiders and pirates. They take what they want and destroy what they cannot carry. Then we offer them payment to leave, suggested another representative. Surely there is a price for peace. The debate continued for an hour, each species offering solutions that reflected their nature. The peaceful herbivores suggested evacuation. The traders proposed economic sanctions. The academics wanted to study the situation further. None suggested what seemed obvious to the one species not yet present in the chamber. Finally, a communication alert chimed through the hall. The human ambassador, David Park, appeared on the main screen. He was standing in what appeared to be a military command center, not the diplomatic quarters he usually occupied. "Honored Assembly," Park began, his tone formal but urgent. "I'm calling to inform you that Earth's expeditionary fleet is responding to the Velthari distress signal." The chamber erupted in surprised voices. Speaker Zelvin raised her arms for silence. "Ambassador Park, this is highly irregular. The Assembly has not yet decided on a course of action. With respect, Speaker, while you decide, people are dying." Park's expression remained diplomatically neutral, but there was steel in his voice. "Earth's fleet will arrive at Mining Station Gamma 7 in 58 hours. We intend to resolve the situation." "And how exactly do you intend to resolve it?" Dektar asked nervously. "Your fleet consists of only 12 ships. The Skorath have over 30 vessels surrounding the station." Park paused before answering. "We'll ask them to leave. Once." The implicit threat in those 3 words sent a chill through the chamber. Several species had done research on humanity after their admission to the galactic community. They knew about Earth's classification as a Class 9 death world. They knew about the wars, the weapons, the willingness to use violence that seemed encoded in human DNA. "Ambassador," Speaker Zelvin said carefully, "the Galactic Assembly does not condone violence as a solution to disputes." "Neither do we," Park replied. "We prefer peace. But Speaker, we evolved on a planet where hesitation meant death, where showing weakness invited attack, where protecting the pack meant survival. The Velthari sent a distress signal. In human culture, that makes them part of our pack now." The transmission ended, leaving the Assembly in stunned silence. They had invited humanity to join them because of their incredible adaptability, their innovative technology, and their seemingly peaceful desire to explore the stars. They had not fully considered what kind of species could survive and thrive on a world that actively tried to kill them every day. Back aboard the UES Wolverine, Captain Chen stood before her assembled department heads. The conference room's walls displayed technical readouts of their destination and tactical analyses of Skorath capabilities. "The Skorath use primarily energy weapons," explained Commander Lisa Wong, the ship's tactical officer. "Their shields are designed to deflect similar attacks. They won't be prepared for kinetic weapons or boarding parties," added Major Carlos Reeves, commanding the ship's marine contingent. "Their ships have minimal internal defenses. They rely on ship-to-ship combat." Chen studied the data. The Skorath were bullies, picking on species that couldn't fight back. They had grown complacent, their tactics unchanged for centuries because they had never faced real opposition. They were about to learn why Earth's children were different. "We go in fast and hard," Chen decided. "No warnings, no negotiations until the station is secure." The Skorath chose violence. "We're going to show them what violence really looks like when practiced by professionals." The other officers nodded. There was no bloodlust in their expressions, no eager anticipation for battle. This was simply what needed to be done. Someone had called for help. Humans answered such calls. It was that simple and that complicated. As the fleet prepared to jump to faster than light speed, Chen received one last message from Earth. It was from her daughter, now a cadet at the military academy. "Mom, I heard about the mission." "Remember what Grandpa used to say? We're not the monsters. We're what monsters fear." Chen smiled grimly. Her father had been a soldier in Earth's last great war before humanity united and reached for the stars. He had understood what their species was, what evolution on a hostile world had made them. They were persistence hunters who had chased prey to exhaustion. They were pack hunters who coordinated attacks with frightening efficiency. They were survivors who had faced extinction and refused to yield. The stars stretched into lines as the human fleet jumped to hyperspace. 12 ships carrying 3,000 humans, racing across the galaxy to answer a stranger's call for help. The other species thought them primitive for maintaining military forces. They thought them paranoid for building warships. They thought them aggressive for training their children in combat. They were about to learn that all those traits had a purpose. Not for conquest, not for domination, but for this moment. When the weak called out in the darkness, humanity would answer. And heaven help anyone who stood in their way. When predators become protectors, the human fleet dropped out of hyperspace like wolves emerging from fog. 12 ships materialized in perfect formation, their arrival sending ripples through local space that every sensor in the system detected. Captain Chen stood at the center of the Wolverine's bridge, her eyes taking in the scene before them in less than a second. Mining Station Gamma 7 hung in space like a broken toy, its hull scored with weapon burns and several sections venting atmosphere. Around it, 33 Skorath vessels formed a loose sphere, their crimson hulls looking like drops of blood against the starfield. Several cargo haulers were docked with the station, systematically stripping it of processed minerals and equipment. "Status report," Chen commanded, her voice calm despite the anger burning in her chest. "Station life signs are concentrated in the central hub," reported Lieutenant Rodriguez. "Approximately 2,000 Velthari, down from the standard crew complement of 3,000. Skorath ships are powering weapons," Commander Wang announced. "They're hailing us." On screen, the face that appeared was typical Skorath. They were an insectoid species with compound eyes and mandibles that clicked when they spoke. This one wore the elaborate headdress of a raid commander, its chitinous armor decorated with trophies from previous conquests. "Unknown vessels," the Skorath commander clicked and hissed, the universal translator working to convert his speech. "You will withdraw immediately. This system is under Skorath jurisdiction by right of conquest." Chen stepped forward, her posture relaxed but her eyes hard as flint. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earthship Wolverine. You are engaged in an act of piracy against a civilian installation. You have 30 seconds to begin withdrawal or we will remove you." The Skorath commander's mandibles spread in what might have been amusement. "You have 12 ships. We have 33. Your mathematics seem flawed, human." 20 seconds, Chen replied, not bothering to argue. The bridge crew watched their captain with complete confidence. They had run thousands of simulations, studied hundreds of battles. They knew what their ships could do. More importantly, they knew what their species could do when pushed. The Skorath commander's compound eyes glittered. "You dare threaten the Skorath Confederation? We have raided the stars for 5 centuries. We have never been defeated." 10 seconds, Chen said quietly. Then to her crew, "Battle stations." The lighting on the bridge shifted to combat amber. Across all 12 human ships, weapon systems came online with a coordinated precision that would have terrified any military analyst. Railguns charged, missile tubes opened, and fighter craft prepared to launch. 3,000 humans moved with the efficiency of a single organism. 5 seconds. The Skorath commander laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "You humans are new to space. You know nothing of war among the stars." "Time's up," Chen announced. "All ships execute Alpha Strike." What happened next would be remembered in galactic history as the moment the galaxy learned what humans really were. It wasn't the violence itself that shocked observers. It was the coordinated surgical precision of it. 12 ships moved as one, their attacks perfectly synchronized. Kinetic railgun rounds traveling at significant fractions of light speed punched through Skorath shields like they were tissue paper. The raiders' defenses were designed for energy weapons that could be absorbed and dissipated. Against solid projectiles carrying tremendous kinetic energy, they were useless. The first salvo destroyed 6 Skorath ships instantly. The rounds didn't just damage them, they shattered them, turning spacecraft into expanding clouds of debris. The second salvo, fired 3 seconds later, eliminated another 5. But the humans weren't just using brute force. Electronic warfare suites activated, flooding Skorath systems with viruses and jamming signals. Fighter craft launched in perfect formation, each pilot knowing exactly where their wingman would be without needing to look. Marines in powered armor prepared to board enemy vessels, their movements economical and practiced. The Skorath tried to return fire, their energy beams lancing through space in panicked volleys. A few shots connected, splashing harmlessly against human shields designed to handle the radiation and debris of Earth's own solar system. Humanity had learned to build strong shields by necessity, living on a planet bombarded by cosmic radiation and regular meteor impacts. "Sir, the station is hailing us," Rodriguez reported, his voice tight with controlled emotion. "Put them through, but maintain fire pattern beta," Chen ordered. A Velthari appeared on a secondary screen. Their crystalline form was cracked in several places, leaking the phosphorescent fluid that served as their blood. "Please," the being pleaded, "you must stop. The Skorath will destroy the station if you continue." "No," Chen replied simply. "They won't." She turned to Major Reeves. "Launch boarding parties. Secure that station." 20 assault shuttles launched simultaneously, their paths covered by precise fighter escort. The small craft wove through the battle with inhuman coordination, their pilots sharing tactical data in real time through neural links. This was another gift from Earth, the ability to work as a pack, to think as one while fighting. The Skorath commander appeared on screen again, his compound eyes now showing what humans recognized as fear. "Wait, we can negotiate. We will take half the minerals and leave." "You had your chance to leave," Chen responded. "Now you'll be lucky if we let you live." The boarding of mining station Gamma 7 would later be studied in military academies across the galaxy. The human Marines moved through the corridors like a force of nature. They didn't charge wildly or fight with rage. They advanced with methodical precision, each squad covering the others, each soldier knowing their role perfectly. The Skorath raiders inside the station had never faced anything like it. They were used to victims who cowered or fled. The humans did neither. They came forward relentlessly, their powered armor absorbing weapon hits that would have killed most species, their return fire devastatingly accurate. Sergeant Maria Vasquez led her squad through the main commercial deck, her rifle sweeping corners with practiced ease. Through her helmet's display, she could see the positions of all her soldiers, the station's layout, and the heat signatures of Skorath ahead. "Hostile contacts 30 meters, she announced calmly. Stevens suppressing fire. Chen and Martinez flank left, execute. The engagement lasted 12 seconds. 8 Skorath raiders were neutralized, their weapons destroyed, their bodies subdued with non-lethal rounds once they surrendered. The humans didn't kill unnecessarily, but they didn't hesitate when violence was required. In the station's command center, the Velthari survivors watched security feeds in stunned silence. Station Administrator Calix had never seen violence like this, but more disturbing was how natural the humans seemed in combat. They moved through battle like dancers performing a well-rehearsed routine. "By the void," whispered his assistant. "What are they?" Back in space, the battle was ending. Of the original 33 Skorath ships, only 12 remained functional. They hung in space, weapons powered down, their captains broadcasting surrender on all channels. The human fleet had taken no casualties, only minor shield damage on 2 vessels. Captain Chen opened a channel to all remaining Skorath ships. "You will collect your survivors and leave this system immediately. If any Skorath vessel enters Velthari space again, we will hunt you down. Not just the ships involved, but your entire confederation. We will find every base, every world you hide on, and we will end you. Do you understand?" The responses came quickly, terrified confirmations from each surviving captain. They had come expecting easy prey and found themselves facing apex predators. As the Skorath ships limped away, collecting escape pods and survivors, they transmitted messages to their confederation. The humans were not to be provoked, ever. On the Galactic Assembly's observation station, dozens of species watched the battle recordings in horrified fascination. The human fleet had destroyed or disabled 21 ships in less than 15 minutes. They had done it without warning shots, without attempts at negotiation once combat started, with a brutality that was somehow also clinically precise. Speaker Zelvin's crystalline form resonated with distress. "They're monsters. We've invited monsters into our community." "No," corrected Dektar, his large eyes reflecting a newfound understanding. "They're not monsters. They're what monsters fear. Look at the recordings again, Speaker. They didn't fire until their deadline passed. They accepted surrenders. They're using non-lethal weapons on the station where possible. This isn't mindless violence." Ambassador Park appeared on the communication screen, his expression grave. "Speaker Zelvin, honored representatives, I know this display has been disturbing. But please understand, we didn't evolve as predators because we enjoyed it. We evolved as predators because on Earth it was the only way to survive. And now, Selvin asked, her harmonic voice carrying fear. Now, we use those skills to protect those who can't protect themselves. The Velthari called for help, we answered. It's that simple. On mining station Gamma 7, the Marines had secured all sections. Medical teams, both human and aided by translation software to work with Velthari physiology, treated the wounded. Engineers worked to repair critical systems. The station's survivors watched in amazement as their rescuers shifted seamlessly from warriors to healers and builders. Administrator Calix approached Captain Chen, who had personally come aboard to oversee operations. The Velthari's crystalline form still showed cracks from the ordeal, but his bearing was steady. Captain, I must ask, why did you come? Your species gains nothing from this. We have no alliance, no trade agreements of significance. Chen removed her helmet, revealing a face marked by years of service but softened by genuine compassion. Administrator, on Earth, we have a very old tradition. When someone calls for help, you answer. It doesn't matter if they're family, friends, or strangers. When someone is in trouble, humans help. It's what makes us human. But the violence, the efficiency of your attack, your species seems designed for war. Chen nodded slowly. We are. Evolution made us very good at violence. But Administrator, evolution also gave us something else. It gave us the choice of when to use it. We choose to use it to protect, not to conquer. We choose to be the shield, not the sword. Over the following days, human ships remained in the system, helping to repair the station and treat the wounded. They shared technology to improve the station's defenses and trained the Velthari in basic self-defense concepts. What amazed the galactic community wasn't the human capacity for violence, but their capacity to switch it off, to go from warriors to guardians in a heartbeat. The Skorath Confederation sent an official message to the Galactic Assembly, announcing that all Velthari territories were under their protection, and any raids against them would be considered an act of war against the Skorath. It was an unprecedented capitulation from a species that had terrorized shipping lanes for centuries. But the real change came from the Assembly itself. 3 other species, all peaceful, all previously vulnerable to raiders and pirates, formally requested human protection. They had seen what humanity was, yes, but more importantly, they had seen what humanity chose to be. In her captain's log, Chen wrote, "Mission complete. Station secure. 2,143 Velthari survivors rescued. The galaxy knows what we are now. We are the species that evolved on a death world, that fought everything our planet threw at us and won. We are the persistence hunters, the pack hunters, the survivors. But most importantly, we are the ones who answer when someone calls for help. We are the protectors. Let any who would harm the innocent know that humanity stands watch." The human fleet departed mining station Gamma 7 72 hours after arriving, leaving behind improved defenses, medical supplies, and something more valuable, hope. The weak had called out in the darkness, and something powerful had answered. Something terrifying, something wonderful. Back on Earth, Admiral Thompson reviewed the battle reports with satisfaction tinged by concern. Humanity had revealed itself to the galaxy. There was no going back. They would either be feared and isolated, or they would become what they had always had the potential to be, the guardians of those who could not guard themselves. Time would tell which path the galaxy would choose, but one thing was certain. When the next distress call came, and it would come, humanity would answer. They would answer with 12 ships or 1,000. They would cross the void, face any enemy, pay any price, because that's what humans did. They protected the pack, and now the entire galaxy was their pack. The age of humanity as galactic protectors had begun, and somewhere in the void, those who preyed on the weak felt a new emotion they had never experienced before. They felt fear, for the Deathworlders had arrived, and they had chosen a side.